Mr. Greene, thank you so very much for inviting us into your home here in Manning, South Carolina, where you live with your dad. How did you pulled off a miracle on a very low budget, a pretty unknown name against a very formidable opponent, Mr. Rawl. How did you do it?
Hard work.
Tell us a little bit about that. Door to door?
Door to door, some door to door campaigning across the state. Just getting the message out.
Did you go to churches and community groups?
A little, but
What on your campaign trail, what's your best memory of some moment on the campaign trail where you said, you know, I've really got it. I'm connecting with these people. They understand my message, and I have a chance of winning?
there's really not a particular moment that stands out. It was just hard work and just good feedback from the folks in South Carolina about like they really identified with me and the issues, and and I wanted to meet their needs, and so there's no particular moment.
When I look at Mr. DeMint's war chest, some $3.5 million, and then I look at yours, I'm wondering, where did he get all this money, and how are you going to compete with that?
I'm thinking he must have gotten it from big corporations. And
did you cover all 46 counties? How many of the counties did you visit during the primary?
I visited most of them, pretty much.
As far as the Democratic Party goes, you and your family have been loyal and faithful members of the Democratic Party for a long, long time here in Clarendon County. Senator Land, as I said, speaks very highly of your family as a good Democrat. Why is it that Carol Fowler and her colleagues in the party have turned their back on you?
I don't know. I think they're for me now. I think that they're coming around, and they have to. Eventually, we need all of the support for the general election. We need for this general election on November 2nd.
Well, she asked you to resign the day after you won this big race.
Yes.
What was the basis of her asking for you to resign?
She was surprised I won. I think she was surprised that I won.
Well, I think a lot of people were.
Yes.
But did you do anything crooked?
No.
Did you do anything illegal?
No.
Did you do anything criminal to win?
No.
And you've heard all these conspiracy theories about you and the Republican Party. Did anyone from the Republican Party ever encourage you to run, help you in paying the fee to run, or do anything that caused you to run?
No. I've always been a Democrat, and I need all the Democrats' support. Everyone from President Obama on down, all the Democrat leadership, I need their support and backing.
But are you disappointed with Fowler and her cronies up at the Democratic headquarters that were so anxious to take your $10,000 in March? They didn't refuse your money, did they?
No, they didn't.
Did they question you at all about your background?
No, they didn't.
Fowler says that she tried to discourage you from running. Did she do that?
Yeah, she mentioned that, that it was a lot of money, and she's like, it takes a lot of money to win a race like this. You have to have all this money. That's what, just like everyone else.
How much money did you spend on the race, and you won by 60%?
I spent less than $2,000 in the primary.
Well, I guess she was wrong then.
Yes.
$10,000 is no small change. How did you do that?
Just watching my spending and just.
Well, tell me about these theories about the machines being crooked. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I've heard.
What do you have to say to those who would say the only reason you won is because the Votronic machines weren't working properly?
Not true. I mean, look at the other races weren't complaining. The elections in the other races, they weren't complaining about anything like that.
What do you say to people who say they only voted for you because of your name, Al Greene?
Al Greene, that could have helped, but...
Can you sing?
No, I don't sing, but...
Tell us about the theory that you won because you have an E at the end of your name, and that's some code word for African Americans to vote for. What is that all about?
Not really. There are a lot of Greens. There, like Nathaniel Greene, a war hero from the Revolutionary War. I mean, there's Greens associated with a lot of folks.
Have you heard all these rumors? People trying to find an excuse why you won?
Yes.
What do you feel about that? How does that make you feel as a man, as a lifelong Democrat?
It's just, I don't know. I don't know really what to think of it. I mean, I worked hard and just stayed focused, and just like I'm doing now for the general election, I'm working hard and I'm staying focused, and I'm...
Well, how do you stay focused since we've been here? Your phone's been ringing off the hook. I know within the last week, CNN has sat in this chair, ABC News has sat in this chair, MSNBC gave a great endorsement for you the other night, Time Magazine, Newsweek. How are you keeping up with all of this?
I'm just taking it one day at a time. Mainly, I have to just do that and just stay.
What support are you now getting from the Democratic Party, both in the state of South Carolina and nationally? What are they doing to help you beat Mr. DeMint?
Well, they offer me courses, coaching courses for for candidates that are in
Who's they?
General. The Democratic Party. They offer.
In South Carolina?
Yes.
Who in particular is helping you?
Well, the state Democratic Party office, they are offering courses for candidates to just to learn about running for office, and just brush up, and if they have any questions or anything, to just learn more about the process.
Have you received a letter of congratulations from the big-time Democrats in the state of South Carolina?
Not yet.
Have you received any letters of endorsement or congratulations from any elected Democrat in South Carolina?
Not yet, but they still have time. And like I said, I need all the
support. What are they waiting for?
Maybe they're just waiting a little longer, but I need all of their support. Everyone from President Obama on down.
But let's stick to the local ones, because Obama can't vote in South Carolina. Mr. Shaheen lives right up the road.
Yes.
Has he come down to congratulate you?
Okay, no, I haven't.
Has he told you he wants to work with you and support you and asked you for support for him?
No, I haven't.
Are you going to make any appearances on his behalf, on Mr. Shaheen's behalf?
I don't have anything planned, but something like that could be something.
What do you think they're waiting for?
Maybe they're waiting for later this summer.
There's a lot of talk that they want to discredit you instead of encourage you, and they want to discredit you about this incident that happened last fall, well before you wrote them a check for over $10,000. That was a public record going back to November of last year. True? Now, I'm not going to ask you about the case, but it was a public record. The arrest for the felony situation in Richland County. Did they ever ask you about that before you won the election?
No, they didn't.
Has anyone ever asked you about that?
No.
Would that arrest disqualify you as a candidate? What have you been told by your lawyer?
Well, I'm innocent until proven guilty, and
has your lawyer said it would not disqualify you?
No. He said that it wouldn't disqualify me. He said that.
And neither Ms. Fowler nor Judge Rawle ever brought that to the public's attention until after you won the election.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you think of that?
I think that they shouldn't have brought that to the attention after I won.
Now, Mr. Rawle, Judge Rawle, former Judge Rawle, went up to Columbia to protest your victory. You didn't go to that hearing. Why not?
It was his protest, and I was working with my lawyer, and it was just my lawyer didn't push me to go. He didn't suggest.
So many of the people that I've heard from in South Carolina and nationally think that you're represented by a public defender.
No.
Would you like to clarify that? Give our viewers and give the public the information that they should have about who your attorney is.
Elisa Carter.
Not a public defender.
That's correct.
And that is a decision that you made, and I'm assuming that your counsel now is retained, not paid for by the taxpayers.
No, I have my own private attorney.
What is this hullabaloo about you applying for a public defender and you were getting a public defender for so many months? What do you have to say about that?
I didn't apply for one, and those documents on the news, that wasn't my handwriting, but they assigned me a public defender. They send you something in my mailbox.
So it was not something you asked for, but something that was automatic when an attorney didn't present their credentials on your behalf.
They sent a name with a telephone number in my mail. They sent it in a letter.
Do you know that the State Law Enforcement Division, they're saying that you're being investigated for a criminal act in applying for the public defender? Have they interviewed you, or have they contacted your attorney?
No, they haven't.
Have you or your attorney told the public that you never applied for a public defender?
Well, my lawyer is dealing with that.
But they can look high and low and they'll never find your signature on a piece of paper saying that you were indigent, that you didn't have any funds, and that you needed the services of a public defender.
They should.
Does such a document exist?
Well, no. My lawyer, he's dealing with that, and
And what you're saying, as I understand it, Mr. Greene, is that the public defender reached out to you. You got a letter in the mail saying, come see us, we'll provide free public services for you.
Yes.
Now, when they did that, did they ask you for a financial declaration? Did you have to list your assets? Or did you tell them, I live with my dad, I'm on unemployment, I don't have any money? Did you lie to them?
No. Well, my lawyer, he's handling that, and I am focusing on my campaign issues and platforms and not negative distractions.
Part of being a politician today, there's so much emphasis on integrity and honesty. And you have such a remarkable military record that people apparently haven't appreciated yet. And they're trying to disrespect with you with a false application for services that you didn't deserve, you weren't warranted because you had money in the bank. What do you say to those people?
I just say that just ignore the negative distractions and focus on the issues of getting South Carolina and America back to work and bringing South Carolina and America back.
You're on unemployment income, right?
Yes.
How long have you been on that?
Since I left the Army August of last year.
Now, since November, from November to March when you petitioned to run for this office, what type of jobs were you looking for then? What did you want to be when you got out of the Army other than a politician?
I looked at jobs in education, locally.
How did that work out?
Well, most of the positions are filled, and they're cutting teachers. They're cutting back, and and they have furloughing school. They're furloughing.
Clarendon County is one of the highest unemployment rates of the 46 counties in South Carolina. I'm sure you're aware of that. Where would you go if you weren't running for office now? If you had lost the primary, where would you go seeking employment? What would you want to be if you could be anything you could be other than United States Senator?
Nothing comes to mind right now, but...
What are you most qualified to be?
Looks like this, what, the United States Senator.